Parents, we are all aware of the dangers of toxins in our kids' life. And the problem is that toxins are everywhere, right? They're in our foods, they're in our cleaners, our laundry detergents, they are in schools and hand sanitizers, and they really are just everywhere in our kiddos' worlds these days. But what if there was one thing that was more impactful and more significant to our kids' health that was even worse than toxins and actually makes them more sensitive to toxin exposure in the first place? Well, there is, and that is what we're going to talk about in this video today. Now, we hear from parents all the time who have already taken all of those toxins out of their kids' environment. They've gotten the foods and the glutens and the dairy and the peanuts and the red dye number 40 out of their kiddos' diet. They've changed all of their household cleaners and all of their products to be free and clear. And a lot of these parents have even tried the detoxes and the chelations and the supplements and the essential oils to really clean out their kiddos' life and environment. And still, these parents are struggling with sick kiddos, especially this time of year as the weather is colder. They're still struggling with kiddos who are having challenges with ADD or ADHD, or even with anxiety and really just stressed out kiddos. These are the parents we hear every day in our office who feel like they've tried everything and still can't get to the root cause of why their kiddo remains sick. So what else is there? And what we see all the time as we go back and really dig into our patients' case histories, the number one most common but completely overlooked cause of this sickness, this chronic illness in children, is birth trauma and birth intervention. Now, that's exactly what was going on with one of our patients, Charlie. He was 7 years old and playing soccer and really great at soccer, but he was getting sick all of the time. He was struggling with allergies. He was struggling with asthma. He was struggling with chronic congestion that he just couldn't get rid of. And so his mom did what all moms would do. They went to the doctor, they went to the pediatrician and tried the allergy medications. They did all of the shots. They tried all of the things that their medical doctor had told them to try. But Charlie kept getting sick and he was having to miss soccer and even school because of these challenges. Now, his mom was fantastic, and she had, of course, done what every other mom does too. Taken all of the gluten out of his diet, taken all of the sugar out of his diet, taken all of the dairy, the eggs, and all of those things that she noticed really created mucus in him. She had loaded him up with supplements, loaded him up with essential oils, and still Charlie was getting sick. And this was becoming a real struggle, and she really didn't know what else to do or know where else to turn. And that's when she found us, and we started talking and teaching her about birth trauma. See, Charlie had been an emergency C-section, and while that C-section had absolutely saved his and his mom's life, the repercussions and the effects of that were significant, and that's where we had to start. See, toxins were not the root cause of the challenge. Toxins have always been around. Like I said, we've always had peanuts. We've always had dairy. We've always had gluten. We've always had asbestos and lead paint and those types of things that get into our environment and get absorbed into our bodies and wreak havoc on our physiological system, our nervous system, and our immune system and our gut. But that's not the root cause. So many people also often will say, you know what, it's just genetics. We hear that all the time. But here's the thing, just because you had asthma or allergies or were sick all the time, just because your grandmother or your grandfather was sick all the time, it takes hundreds and thousands of years for those genes to change. And what we've seen, especially in the last few years of practice, is that the rates of kiddos getting sick has completely skyrocketed. The rates of kiddos who can't tolerate dairy and gluten and peanuts and blueberries and all of the things that are starting to show up has completely skyrocketed. So genetics haven't changed that much. Yes, we've changed our lifestyle a little bit, but the one thing that is overlooked but is the most common is that birth trauma and birth intervention. See, when we look at the past few years or generations even of what's been going on in our birth, in the birth scenario, what we've seen is the rates of C-section, of induction, of epidurals, of forceps and vacuum deliveries have increased astronomically. So I'm definitely not saying that toxins are good. I'm not saying that gluten is good or that dairy is good. I mean, dairy is good if you're a baby cow, but I'm not saying those toxins are good for your kiddo. Kids and chemicals definitely do not mix. Kids and chemicals and adults definitely don't mix either. But what I am saying is that birth trauma, birth interventions absolutely will trigger dysfunction and subluxation and dysautonomia in the central and autonomic nervous system. Now, dysautonomia and subluxation, those are just big fancy words for saying that a kiddo has gotten physical trauma from that birth injury. There is stress stuck in their nervous system. And up at the very top part of their neck, where that damage happens, that is the key integrator of the immune system, the respiratory system, the gut, and all of the things that help a kiddo overcome those toxins so they aren't as sensitive to them, and overcome those sicknesses so that they don't have to struggle. So I want to pull up a picture real quick of one of our patients who had a C-section, and this was a picture that Dad took right as they were pulling baby out. And you can see just the physical stress, the pulling, the tension, the torsion that's being used on this little kiddo's neck. And again, right up at the very top of the neck, that's where a couple of components live that really are responsible for the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what's controlling your kiddo's ability to have a great immune response, to have a great respiratory response, and then to even have a great gut and digestive response. See, that first respiratory part of things, the respiratory component, this part of the neck, the nerves in this area really control the eyes, the nose, the ears, and respiratory and breathing. There's also an immune component up in that top part of the neck where there's a nucleus of nerves that controls the inflammatory cascade. And so when there is damage to that nucleus, to that part of the neck, that nervous system gets stuck in a sympathetic fight or flight response. And so they are stuck in a pro-inflammatory response. Now, that inflammation you hear about all the time can be the cause of so many things like mucus production and ear infections and respiratory and sinus infections and just fluids getting stuck in the body and not being able to flush out through their normal routes. And the real kicker here is that right up at the top of the neck where all of that pulling and twisting is happening, that's where the vagus nerve lives. Now, the vagus nerve is the main coordinator of that parasympathetic nervous system. It's nicknamed the wandering nerve or the rest and digest nerve. And it goes all the way down from the neck through the thorax, all across the digestive system. So this vagus nerve is really responsible not just for gut and digestion, but it also links to the immune system. So the two pathways that our body has naturally to be able to detox all of these toxins that we are more exposed to these days has been damaged and dysregulated, so it's not working at its best. So birth intervention creates a physical injury, a physical trauma to the neck, to the brainstem, and really to that central and autonomic nervous system. And it's creating that subluxation or dysautonomia. Now, in a younger kiddo, that's going to look like reflux and colic and constipation. And they aren't going to grow out of that. They are going to grow into things like sinus infections and ear infections. And then they grow into things like asthma and allergies and even bigger things when they get older and school age, like emotional dysregulation, behavioral challenges, and even into things like ADD, ADHD, and anxiety, because the root cause of all of those things is the same: nervous system dysregulation, where the brain and the nervous system is not able to control the rest of the body, those foundational pieces, like it should be able to. So parents, if you maybe have tried everything, if you've tried all of the allergy medications and antibiotics and your kiddo is still stuck in this cycle of sick, if you've eliminated all of the gluten, all of the dairy, all of the cleaners and chemicals and dyes from your kiddo's food and life, if you've tried all of the supplements and the oils and the detoxes to really clean your kiddo out and get their environment as clean as possible, but you're still seeing them struggle with sickness and illness and anxiety and really just struggle, then we are here to tell you that there may be one piece of the puzzle that you still need to look at. And really, we used to say a piece of the puzzle, but this one thing really is the entire puzzle, because the brain and the nervous system is controlling every other part of your kiddo's body. It's controlling the immune system, the inflammation. It's controlling the ability to detox. It's controlling their ability to digest their food and to detox from their gut. It's controlling other things too, like their sleep and their mood and their behavior and their emotions and their attention and their focus. And if we can make a change, if we can help support that nervous system function, then all of those other systems really can thrive and do what they were designed to do as well. So what we see in our office this time of year is so many kiddos who used to struggle, who used to get sick for weeks and months at a time, but now they are thriving. They are not having to miss school. They're not having to miss their sports. They are truly getting to live their best life because their nervous system is doing and regulating and functioning the way it is supposed to. Therefore, everything down that path can function and perform like it's supposed to as well. So, parents, don't lose hope. If this video is speaking to you, if this is you, don't lose hope. We want you to read more. We want you to learn more. We have a fantastic article that is linked to this video that will tell you even more about birth traumas and how it can affect those delicate parts of the neck. We have some amazing other videos on YouTube and on our Facebook sites, so check those out. They can give you so much more information onto maybe if this is something that your kiddo is struggling with. Now, we would love for you to ask questions, send us a private message, and really more than anything, we would love for you to share this. Share this with your mom groups. Share this with a friend who needs to see it. Maybe their kiddo is struggling. Because what we know is that if we can get their nervous system back on track, if we can find and locate where that stress happened and really make changes to how that nervous system is functioning, then the outcomes are amazing. We see miracles in the office every single day. We also see healthy, incredible, resilient, adaptable kiddos in the office every single day because they have gotten neurologically focused pediatric chiropractic care on a consistent basis. So, please, like I said, learn more, ask questions, share this with someone who needs to see it. And when you're ready, if this is you, reach out to us, give us a call. We would love to answer all your questions, and we'd love even more to get your kiddo living their best life. Thanks so much, y'all. We'll see you next time.